Building on the success of last year, we want to continue being able to provide the officers of the Salem Police Department with community safety tools that are valuable and help them do their jobs better. When it comes to law enforcement tools, the possibilities are endless. However, budgets are sometimes a hindrance. When responding to domestic violence situations, it is essential to document any physical injuries observed in efforts to corroborate victim statement and reveal mechanism of injury for future legal proceedings. Some injuries may take 2 to 3 days to fully reveal themselves. Others may have faded by the time the incident is reported, and still others, like choking injuries, may never readily reveal themselves. However, with the proper tools, these injuries can be revealed and documented. The Crime Cam Examiner Plus.
The Crime Cam Examiner Plus is kind of unique. There's really nothing else like it out there. It's both a camera and a light source all in one. So you're able to have standard white light as well as filtered light in the form of blue light and UV light, so different wavelengths. And the benefit of having variable light sources is that you can see different types of evidence that are not readily visible with white light, standard white light. Blood tends to absorb light, so instead of fluorescing, it'll appear dark. And so we're looking to create contrast between the blood and the background. So when utilizing this camera, we can document bruising on victim injuries, and we can be able to capture an image that has strong contrast with the background. The light source is actually located on the end of the lens of the camera, and that way the user only needs one set of hands. They're able to both take the picture and have the light source all in one, as opposed to having to hand hold a light source and use the camera. You can find physiological fluids, bruising, all sorts of trace evidence, standard forensic evidence that we're looking for, you should be able to locate with this camera. It's a piece of technology that'll be utilized across the board throughout the agency. So sworn officers, patrol officers will be able to use it, detectives, members of the domestic violence response team, civilians, all aspects of employees with the City of Salem should be able to utilize this camera.
The Crime Cam Examiner Plus was developed at the request of the U.S. Navy sexual assault nursing examiners who wish to be able to document victim injuries with an alternate light source with ease. One of the challenges of the traditional documentation method is that the examiner needs to have 3 hands, one to hold the camera, one to hold the light source, and one to hold the scale. With the Crime Cam Examiner Plus, the light source is attached to the end of a 35mm digital Canon camera in the form of a ring flash, which produces white light, blue light, and UV light as needed. When utilizing macro photography to document injuries, a ring flash is essential as it reduces shadows and allows for even lighting.
With this camera, we can take pictures and show that the suspect grabbed or punched the victim, and it'll show marks where with the naked eye it won't. However, 3 or 4 days down the road, the victim will have bruising, and this could always come up down the road in court, or the suspect could say, I didn't do it that night. This is something that was done. She did this on her own, or he did this on his own, and I didn't do this because they didn't have bruises that night. With this camera, we can take pictures when the victim reports it, and it would be consistent to 3 days down the road when the victim or when the bruises appear. And there's things that can pick up, such as hair, body fluids, or something that the suspect had cleaned prior to us showing up, and the scene doesn't look like, it doesn't look as big as it is because of what the suspect did as to clean up the scene. If we had a tool like that and we instantly saw that we could see hair fibers, body fluids, possibly blood, where the crime lab, our crime lab, might need to be called out now that we can see it with a camera like this. It would help us in processing the scene to where we could just call the crime lab and they can come out with this camera as well, but several other tools.
Unfortunately, assaults, including domestic violence, are part of our reality, not just in Salem, but throughout the county and state. In 2013, Salem officers responded to over 3,500 domestic disturbance calls and hundreds of child abuse complaints. In efforts to manage and reduce assaults in the Salem area, The Salem Police Department would like to purchase this technology for the officers and the domestic violence response team to utilize during investigations. A tool designed to be user-friendly with minimal training and will help in the disposition and prosecution of cases. The CrimeCam Examiner Plus.